Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to Raids Week 2, Day 7, kind of, because we're actually already done with it. All we have to go do is open up the orb. My guild ended up finishing it out during the day, so we actually don't have any battles to go do right now, as far as the thing, unless you guys want me to mess around with something. But yeah, at this point, on the final day, every single Sunday, even though it kind of starts a day earlier, technically Raids is from Monday till Saturday, and Guild Wars, I guess, is from Tuesday to Sunday. Even though there's, even though it's technically is every single day, it's still kind of 6 days, just like the other game mode. Mainly because by this point, on almost every situation, we'd actually be done, most likely, with Portal 10 by then. So yeah, we're kind of already done and don't need to do anymore then, which is kind of good. It's starting to get really annoying towards the later end, that is for sure. This week was the worst raids week for a very long time, hopefully. There was just no combinations within Glacial Peak. Anyways, hello everyone, hello Danny, hello Trey, hello Cody, hello Captain, hello Steve. We're gonna go open up that orb, but before I do, let me go open up the forum post. Let me go bring this into its own little tab. I didn't do that already. But let me go over next week's event and go over all that stuff. So let me go bring this up. And let's get over it. Let me just bring it into its own little screen, and then we'll be good to go. Window capture, already got it, boom, and that should be it right there. Okay, so, next week's event. We have a few things coming in. The standard invasion troop. It is going to be quite worth getting, even more so than what the other troop would normally be worth. The main reason why this one would be pretty decent is because, of course, since there are going to be 4 towers, most likely on the opposing team, his final trait of being able to do 3 times or 4 times or 5 times skull damage to them is going to be quite convenient, to say the least. He also has 33% skull reduction, which is pretty nice, and one other slightly unique thing, he actually has a leaf storm whenever an enemy dies, so it's going to be very useful in that the kingdom does use a lot of greens. And just using it in general might even be okay, even outside of the case of invasions, though for the most part, mainly just going to be used with invasions, of course. But yes, very nice, gets that green storm, decent damage, and pretty much everyone's going to be picking up just to be able to do the invasions, because it's almost mandatory to have one of them with how they kind of had it set up. The actual thing that you'll be able to get through Glory will be, it's a little bit weird. There's basically already a troop that does this. Snowy Owl already does what she does, basically, and I still feel like Snowy Owl is better than her, though she's probably going to be attached to some kind of event, like use her to get like 5 glory or something, you know. Something's going to be attached to her, almost guarantee. But she deals damage to the weakest enemy, and if the enemy dies, it destroys all purple. The reason this isn't really that needed is because the Snowy Owl, for only 9 mana cost, already does this. It destroys all purples, but then creates some mana generation instead. So it doesn't actually do damage, the other one, but it has a 100% chance to destroy the purple. So there's already an owl that does this, so not much need for an owl rider. Nothing about her really stands out too much, other than Wood Ancestry, which is immune to Mana Drain, Silence, Fairy Fire, and Entangle. Yeah, also, one really fun fact we learned in Puzzle Quest on our final stream the other day, they already were going to do these Wood Ancestries and everything. They already had this in their lore since Puzzle Quest 1, even though they only implemented this last patch. It's been within the lore of their game since Puzzle Quest 1. I found that really amazing. There's like a sentence in there that talks about the Dark Elves and the Wood Elves and all those things, and it's actually referring to all of the immunities that just came in on the Elves, and that was from over a decade ago, so I found that really funny when I read that the other day. But anyways, we also get a new weapon. I actually didn't even look at the weapon yet. It's probably the same as most of the other ones. Let me see. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by your elemental allies, then creates a mix of blue and green. I don't like those colors, but I like its boost ratio. It's based on elementals, which of course is the invasion type for next week. You're going to be needing to use 4 times in elementals as your team, which is going to be nice because there are so many options for that. The biggest thing I can think of that weapon would be very nice with is Rowan. Rowan uses both green and blue, so you'd be able to get a really good, solid boost ratio out of that. But yep, that is everything coming in next week as far as the events. Do keep in mind that the Gnome event should be occurring this Friday as well, and that lasts from Friday all the way until Monday reset. And that will increase the chance of being able to find treasure gnomes. And I believe they're buffing treasure gnomes as well this Friday, not fully certain on that, but they're doing something with it. They're either going to just do the standard event, or they're going to do the standard event plus the gnomes will be buffed a little bit more than they normally would be. Of course, Vault Keys will automatically be higher rate, but I mean, they might be getting rid of some of the smaller drops in it, because they know how much people hate, like, 2 minor trait stones and such. Also, hello everyone else. Hello Ray PF, hello Cherry Top, hello Jesse, hello Tim, hello William, hello David, and hello SK DK Gaming. And now that we started up a bit, let's go see what we got in the orb. So the moment of truth, and then we'll go do dungeons, and then we'll just go mess around with like PvP and such. Raid boss, not fights. I'm here for the reward. The final reward, what do we have? So far we're even on every single one, so this can't really be bad or good luck in any way. Well, of course it could be good in that we get something good, but you know. We're currently exactly 1 on every single orb, so what did we get? Come on, blue or purple? Okay. Interesting. That's technically our 3rd green orb, though we've only gotten it twice as drops. The 3rd one came from the free one we got this week. For whatever reason, there was an orb, like a whole major orb on the thing, on the raid boss. It was like the 3rd reward too, so like everyone in the game got it. This thing over here. I don't know if they're going to rotate that through every single orb, or they just did it for that one because it's the worst orb. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, unfortunately, again, we just got the worst orb that we could possibly get, so that is a little bit unfortunate. We're up to 3 of those now. I think that's enough to create a bigger orb thing, isn't it? Or at least for the green side of it. Let me see. Soul Forge. Or do you need 4 of each of them? I know it's excessively overpriced. Let me see. Nope, that's all you needed. So, sweet. So if we get 2 more of those and 2 more of those, we can have our first power orb. And yeah, that's going to take forever. It's been how many weeks now? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? Almost 5 weeks? And we still don't have a single power orb yet. Or at least not even the capability of making a single power orb. I think it would take us until the end of the year to actually craft Zugoff if we don't spend any of our resources. That's quite insane. But anyways, let me go do dungeons first because I know I'm going to forget them if I don't do it immediately. And let's go through those then. What do we need to switch to? Let's go into... yeah, we'll stick with the standard Explorer. I don't think we need to do anything fancy. Also, hello, Mr. Moss. Welcome. You got 2 growth from stage 9. Good times. Aww. That hurts. I got double Ascension, which for me is just as bad as getting double growth, mainly because I have every trait stone in the game, and enough to do it for a very long time, so I don't actually need, I don't need the souls one, nor do I need the trait stone one. They're both equally as useless to me. Yeah, the trait stone one actually isn't too bad, particularly for newer players. Like, using that on a mythic for one of its last 2 traits, or using it on a legend for one of its last 2 traits, are really, really good value. It can save you a lot of time. Alright, let's go for another explosion here. Get a firebomb down, get a sunbird down. Before I do, move that over. Free mana, throw to Rowan first. And let's match. We had a new weapon next week with elementals. One other thing to note, which is really funny, that I did bring up earlier. This team is technically full elemental. It has sunbird, it has Rowan, it has 2 firebombs, both of which are elemental. And yeah, everything is elemental. We could literally use this exact team in Invasion tomorrow if we wanted to. Obviously, that wouldn't be that viable, but for the first few battles, just to get them done quickly, we could just go and do this. No, I probably won't, just because it's a... I'd rather use something a little bit more consistent and just go a little bit slower with it. Because obviously, in that game mode, it only matters how well you... Or it doesn't matter how well you do it, it just matters that you win. And if we accidentally lose because we were trying to win too quickly, that would not be good. Okay, let's just get a sunbird down. And next week's invasion, going to be using Fars of Thorns or all elves. Depends what's getting bonuses, or what, like, it depends what the 1 troop bonus is. Like, if that 1 troop, that 1 owl, like, is it going to be glory or 2 times straight stones or what? If it's something like glory or gold, I would probably be using some kind of team focused around it. But no, I'm probably going to be using elemental teams next week. I believe they're going to have 10% bonus, all elementals. It's probably going to be, it's either going to be Fars of Thorns 10% and elementals 10%, or it's going to be elementals 10% and elves 10%. It's going to be one of those 2 most likely. But I'm almost guaranteed they're going to have elementals 10%, so yeah, I'm probably going to be using some kind of team related to that. Obviously, one of the bigger things we could be using is the almighty Infernus, because he is an elemental. I'm pretty sure every single one of my teams for tomorrow is going to be based around this. Actually, speaking of that, let's go build a team right now. What was the coloration of that one guy again? Let me go double check. So I'm just going to put something in his place. He was color of red-green. So we'll just have a red-green placeholder. Is there any red-green elemental? Doesn't even matter what it is. Let's see. Troop type, elemental. Let's go make a mock-up team. I haven't really bothered doing any yet. Why must all these be horrible? I guess we'll use Gloomleaf. Why not? So get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. So this is going to be our troop, our invasion troop. This is the one that does like 3 times skull damage and stuff. We're just going to be using Gloomleaf in its place because we don't actually have it yet, obviously. But anyways, let's go and go all elementals now and see what we can build. First things first, Infernus. Because obvious, he's just so ridiculously good. Let's see. What other options? I believe we have every troll as well. Let me see, or most of the trolls. Yeah, we have every troll as an option, which is kind of cool. But that being said, I guess Flame Troll? No. Is there any that can loop? Yes, Flame Troll and, that goes into red. And then purple, yeah, there we go. Boom, we already got our team. Sweet, that's our team for tomorrow. We already got it, we're done. We won. Okay, let's just go. What's your mana cost again? 12 12s. I guess we'll get up the brown and stuff. It's actually going to be a little clunky in this team, I guess. The thing that's going to be doing 3 times skull damage tomorrow. So I guess we just go for a... trying to think of banner here. I want him to get his mana immediately. I'm leaning towards a purple-related banner. I might just go standard +2 purple. Because I don't want to minus anything that's too important. I don't want to minus red. I don't want to minus yellow. So yeah, I guess we just go standard +2 purple. Wait, what is this one? Oh, no, never mind. That's minus red. Yeah, just +2 purple. Very rarely do I go that banner, but there are some situations where it's better than some of the other +2/+1s. Invasion does have a troop restriction. It's restricted based on elementals, or next week it's going to be restricted based on elementals. The way that each of the game modes work is Bounty Hunter is restricted by you needing to put as many bounty troops on your team as possible, but everything else can be whatever. For raids, it's restricted based on kingdom. For Guild Wars, it's restricted based on color, though technically you can use anything, but color would give you the best scores. And what's the other one? Invasions is based on troop type, and next week's troop type for invasion will be the elementals. So anything that is an elemental you'll be able to use. So if this is an elemental, obviously this will be replaced with the green-red thing that comes in through the gems, the little tower slaying thing. This is an elemental. Every single one of the 6 trolls is an elemental. So using a double combo of them is probably your best strategy to win, assuming you have one of the looping combos. Here we're doing purple into red into purple, and it just keeps going back and forth, like you can see right here. We cast this, and then it goes right back. Well, ideally, it would go all back. He's actually blocking it right there. But it would go all back into him, and then he just keep looping it back and forth. But anyways, and of course Infernus, because Infernus is just absolutely insane, and has the highest damage source of any elemental. Possibly even the highest damage source of almost anything in the game as well. Maybe not the absolute highest, but it's definitely very high up there, that's for sure. Anyways, let's actually cast a Gloomleaf, why not? We have him on our team, might as well actually utilize him. I don't think I've used a Gloomleaf cast in, gosh, I can't even think how long. It has been a very, very long time since I've bothered to actually use a Gloomleaf. Obviously, we wouldn't be using a Gloomleaf on when it's actually the week. He's just a placeholder for the other troop, the one that does triple skulls to towers. Alright, we're gonna move that over. Do we have a drop there? No. I guess we'll take a brown to skull then. Get our poke. And what else do we need? I guess we'll take a purple, get the double of red, and we should be good to go. He doesn't even deny our red. And now we just loop back and forth the entire time. Oh, then we get Infernus in there actually. And of course both of them leak into Infernus as well, which is quite amazing. So we'll go and double the purple. And throw another Infernus down and just keep repeating that until we win. Our troop would keep hitting 3 times damage as well as heavy skulls. And yeah, that seems like the strategy I'll be using for tomorrow then. For all week on invasions. I might tweak it some, but that seems about as strong as we're really going to get. And of course, if you don't have Infernus, you could put a Garuda there, really anything that, if you're using this specific combo, anything that's red, purple that does a lot of damage you could put there, or even just including one of the colors. Doesn't necessarily need to include both, either red or purple. The only requirement is that it has to be an elemental, as far as what it is. Yeah, anything under elementals is fair game for what you could put there. So other heavy damage sources other than Infernus, if you don't have, is Garuda, Hindla Frost Crown, though I don't think there's a double troll that works as well with it. Euro Fire Mantle, though slightly inconsistent. Rowan is a really, really nice damage, though. If it gets its armor reduced, it's pretty bad. But prior to then, it's good. Sunbird, there's quite a few teams you could probably build out of Sunbird. I might need to figure out one for a more budget team that doesn't use like anything too high of rarity, because Sunbird is going to be amazing as well. Yeah, because Sunbird Rowan, some kind of team without the double firebomb would be pretty nice. And yeah, that's about it, actually. Never mind, there's not that many damage sources under elementals. I guess I kind of slightly underestimated it. Though do keep in mind, you can use any hero weapon as well. Even if it's not elemental class, you can use absolutely any hero weapon. So if you are lacking options in troops, you can use your hero with anything. Any class, any weapon. So if you happen to have something that would work to fill a gap, you could use that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing for invasions next week then. For the elemental things. And elementals should have 10%, which will be helpful. They already have it at 10% this week, though, too. So, but next week, they're most likely also going to have it. We'll go throw that down. And what do we even need here? I guess let's throw it in Furnace. Before I do, take a skull, take the yellow, take the yellow. So much yellow. Get a nice little skull poke in there. And I don't even need to throw anything else. Just go right into the Furnace. Also, hello! Let's see. Hello, John. Welcome. Have you thought about teams for next week? Oh, never mind. I already just went over that. Actually, both those questions I just already went over without even reading them. That worked out perfectly. Hello, Say. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Or Sai, however you end up saying that. I think you said it was pronounced like Sai. What if you don't have Inferno? Oh, I also answered that one without actually doing it. I would say Garuda would probably be one of your best damage sources if you don't have a, Infernus. Oops, why'd I do that? I could have just converted out brown. Fail. Why'd I do that for? I already had alignment and then I got rid of it. Fail. Well, I guess we'll go do this on blue. Could have just done it on brown the previous move. Okay, we'll go move that over again and furnace down and go from there. No Mang next week. Oh yeah, don't forget, if you guys haven't gotten a freeze option yet, anyone earlier on in the game, do make sure to get one. Because event keys and the Soul Forge both have it in. Queen Mab's in the Soul Forge, and 3 different drops within the event key drop pool currently have really good freeze options. So if you don't currently have one for Guild Wars or PvP and other stuff, would definitely advise getting one, because there aren't too many other easy events where you can get freeze options, so now would be the time. It'll still be available in the future, of course, but it would be good to get it now. It's not really too mandatory of a kind of mechanic as far as invading, but for defending, particularly for Guild Wars and stuff, it's absolutely amazing. And there are a few teams out there that you might want to use freeze specifically for, such as 4x Goblins and stuff like that. Things that tend to loop like crazy can be countered out pretty well by freeze spam. Okay, we don't have any alignment there. Or yes, we do. Never mind. Well, I guess we'll take it then. Go grab that, take a skull. Get at least a little bit of damage in there. Get all of our mana back, and then just go straight into the Infernus. Nothing else that also created more yellows on the board, so it goes to him. But then again, it also removed reds from the board, so I guess overall it net gave him the exact same amount of mana for the most part. Because we got rid of one color that he didn't need, but then also added a color that he did need. Or, I mean, taken away a color that he did need, but added a color that he did. But we'll go and throw down the Infernus. Probably should have mercied there, actually, to clear out the board. Well, we still can. Go grab that. He dies down to that, but doesn't really help much since he just revives again. Also, hello, Adam. Is there an elemental hero? No, there's currently 0 elemental heroes, though you can still use your hero even if there's none of the typing. Your hero can be anything, but there is no elemental hero, unfortunately. But he's still usable, though. Elemental hero would actually be really, really strong, though. I can only imagine the amount of Infernus teams we could build around that. Would be quite fun. I really wish every type would already get it. They already have all the images in the game for it from ages ago. It's just they haven't bothered adding hero classes. It's been like, what, 6 months now? Maybe even longer since they last added a hero class. So hopefully they'll do one soon. It has been quite a while now as far as how much time has passed since the previous one. And it always has a coming soon button there, which is a huge lie because it's it's never soon. Soon to them is like months upon months upon months away. We'll go and throw that down. And get the Infernus, and it's pretty much match. Aw, we got back. Luckily we got all of our mana and an extra turn, so it just goes right back down. No Mang next week? I'm probably not running with Mang next week. I don't think we need it. For one, Invasion doesn't need Mang as much. It's nice, but not as required. Because with the towers, they're all basically equally statted, with none of them being like excessively over the top. It works really well for raids because there's one gigantic boss that's like twice the level of everything else, and then there's all the weaker troops. But in Invasion, basically everything is equally as strong. So one Mang is normally not enough to actually go and start getting those kills. You can still go the Mang strategy, it's perfectly fine, but I probably won't be. I'll have to see exactly how the team will work initially. At least for the first few days, we'll probably be able to get away with what we're going to be using initially. Not sure if I will have to change it or not, but for now, I am most likely going to go with 0 Mang and 0 Hero. It'll actually be the first time in an Invasion or raids where I haven't used a hero. Because so far, every single time I've used a hero, almost always with Mang or Dawnbringer, but this will be the first time we don't use that at all. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be a little bit of an experiment, see if it's actually viable to do so. Okay, he gets all that. He gets a summon. Dracos as well. Not really too big a deal what it's summoned into. I will go and... I guess we'll get Infernus down. That's pretty much match. All we need is another little scope poke, and we'll be good to go. He doesn't even take the 4 times gold. It's just sitting right there. And down it goes to the burn. Oh, oops, we were frozen on it, but then it still died to burn, so I guess it worked out. Hello, Pedro! Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Looking through the cards you have, you can use Lava Elemental, Florian, Sunbird, and Rowan. Sounds pretty good. Though I might replace out Florian for, oh, never mind. Not Florian. Don't use Florian. The towers have immune to mana drain. Maybe initially, before you get to the towers, you could use it. But all of the towers have immune to mana drain. Similar to how Zugoff guy has immune to mana drain as well. He doesn't have immune to mana burn, none of them. But they do have immune to mana drain. If we go under the raid boss real quick, and go under fight, and go take a peek at him. You can see right here. The towers also have this exact same trait, invulnerability. And it's immune to all stats effects. Devour, Mana Drain, which is what Florian does. Transform. Oh, it is immune to Transform. I didn't see that earlier. I assumed it was. I just forgot if it said the exact word or not, but yeah, it does. And lethal damage. So basically everything except Mana Burn is what it's immune against. It's not immune against Mana Burn, not immune against stat reductions. But basically everything else it is immune against. But yeah, Mana Drain is one of them, so you cannot use a Florian against them. It would not work. Maybe for the initial battles, but not for all of them. Let's see. But yeah, basically replace a Florian with like Mang or, you know, anything that's hero related would probably be better. Because you can't use her in the later battles of towers. Okay, let's go and I guess we'll just grab the yellow. He'll skull us, which means almost nothing, especially since we could just mercy away the HP right back. Let's take the last of our mana. And, oh, he's going to get that barrier. Again, the main thing we're missing on this team is Dispel. Really wish it had Dispel somehow. There's just no way to fit it on this team, though. Because when he does something like that, we actually get behind a little bit. Because we have no easy way of dealing with what he just did. And it sets us back quite a bit every single time. What do I even convert here? I guess we do it on brown and just get our mana up and then go from there. We'll do that. He'll just take whatever. And now we should be good to go. Okay, so we'll get that down. Actually, I didn't even need to go for that, but oh well. Get that. Nice. Get another one down. I wish we could get a Mercy down. She might die to his skull. That or she'll live with 1 HP, which would be even funnier. Oh, he got the burn. Why? If he didn't get that extra turn burn, she would have lived. Oh well, we'll go through that down. Also, I just realized now that he's using the exact same team we are. Well, almost exact. He's using the Dawnbringer version. Normally, when you use a defend version of a team, you always throw that Dawnbringer just randomly in it because of how good a value it gets. So when you're player controlling it, you can normally use other stuff better than a Dawnbringer. Okay, we'll throw that down in this match. If it would let me click, and down it goes. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of creative elementals next week. Especially if they end up getting 20% somehow off of the thing. Because I believe if it goes Forest of Thorns, I think there's, what, 6, 7 elementals in Forest of Thorns? Let me see. Most of them are pretty bad, though. Oh, excuse me. Elemental, Forest of Thorns. How many are here? I'm not sure if this will be the bonus, but if it is... Oh, if that's the case, yeah, 20% Rowan. Oh, she even had 20% this week. I didn't even notice that. Really? How did I just notice that now? I'm pretty sure I mentioned that at some point, but this week. But yeah, Rowan had 20% all this week. Oh, no wonder why she's been so strong, or more so than usual. But yeah, when Rowan has 20%, this is absolutely insane. Well, I guess she might have 20% again next week. We'll see. She's definitely gonna have 10% next week. because they're going to do it to like Elf or Elemental and something like that, but it might end up being Forest of Thorn bonus as well, which, of course, all this is Forest of Thorn Elementals, which is possibly what might be 20% next week. Though more likely it's going to be like, it's going to be something like Elemental and Elves or something. I'm really surprised how few Elves there are in this kingdom. Even though a lot of them looked like Elves, there's only like 3 Elves, I think, in this kingdom. 4, make that 4. Elf Knight, the Thorn Knight, Leader and Aerial, Glade Warden, Arc Druid, and technically 5 if you count the hero class, because Archer hero class does count as a elf. Are towers constructs though? I forget if they count as construct. Let me go double check the database. 1 second. I'll go check for you. I forget if they actually count as construct. Gems of War, I would assume so. It would make sense. They are literally towers. It would make sense that they would count as a construct. So if you were using a troop, like that one troop that deals like 2 or 3 times extra damage, I think it's 2 times, to constructs, the Obsidian Golem, you could use that against it, and then you'll be good to go. Let me go double check. Bosses and towers. Towers are classified as... No. They are classified as a tower. Similar to how the bosses are classified as a boss, the towers are classified as a tower. So even though they are technically constructs, they are not classified as a construct. They're classified as a tower. So no, you would not be able to do 2 times damage or 3 times whatever Obsidian Golem does. Basically, you won't be able to use Obsidian Golem against them. You would have to use the new troop that's coming in that deals 3, 4, or 5 times based on Ascension. Yeah, their only classification is tower. Similar to how Zugoff's only classification is boss. So yes, you will not be able to use construct bonuses. So that's slightly unfortunate. But yeah, they are 100% guaranteed not considered constructs. It would make sense, but they're not. Okay, let's go, and which is quite unfortunate because like the 1 week where you could actually use that troop, Obsidian Golem has almost no purpose within the game, and the one time he could maybe do something good, nope, he's not even usable. Okay, well, let's go and throw that down. Obsidian Golem actually came in for a really weird reason. Obsidian Golem was added as a counter to the Guardian troops. That might seem a little bit weird these days because you almost see none of the Guardians around anymore. But at the time, there was a lot of Guardians being used, like Justice teams, Humility teams, stuff like that. Quite a few of them. It was also pre-nerf Courage at the time, so Courage wasn't even nerfed yet. He used to give 3 to all troop stats on your team every single time. He used to give 3 attack and 3 life to all your allies every single time you took a skull. And it still does something very similar to that, it's just it does 2 now instead of 3. Plus they did that change where they fixed it for multi-triggering during one of the patches. And between those 2 changes, it kind of made him and quite a few of the other Guardians used quite a bit less. But yeah, at the time, Obsidian Golem was basically created to counter out like Courage, Humility, Justice, and those kind of troops, all the Guild War troops. Because at the time, they were really big. Alright, we'll go through that down. But nowadays, he's just useless. The construct thingy, the Obsidian Golem. Go through that down. And what else do we need? I guess we'll just poke it. Doesn't even matter which one we take. It'll die to anything. And if anyone else has any other questions, let me know. How's everyone doing with Snot Gems? You're at 1,877. I think we're at 1,000. I wasn't really farming them like heavily. I was just doing normal battles. So yeah, we, without even trying, we easily hit 750. That was with 0 grinding whatsoever, the current amount I have. No effort was put whatsoever into trying to grind for that. It was just kind of standard amount of battles I would do on any week. Also, speaking of that, how many PvP battles did I do? Yeah, that's about average. Most weeks I think I do around 250 to about 350 battles or so in PvP. So that seems about right. I think his average is around 300 or so. We're actually almost there. We would need like, what is that, 50, 40 more battles? Anyways, let's go ahead back to PvP. Let's mess around a bit more. I'm not attacking that team. That is such an annoying team when you're not running stun. So very annoying. Okay, we don't have Mercy, do we? No. So we'll go grab that turn. Oh, we got full mana on SML. I'll take it. Grab that. No worries to do that, so we'll throw an Infernus down and move from there. Should be good to go. And no, we don't have it on blue, so let's go take that. Double check on green. Oh, we got it on yellow. We'll go get that real quick. Double check, double check. Looks like we have it, so we'll throw that down. I need to kill out that Dragon Soul in case it revives. Exactly so. And, well, actually, I can't do anything about that now. Whoops. Okay. What's plan B? Let's go and do this there. And can we get some kind of major convert in here or something? No. I need to kill that out with skulls. There's not enough to do it off of, though. Let's try for some weird cascade. Okay, that still wasn't enough damage. And now it is, though. So we'll go grab that. And there we go. No extra turn, but at least we killed it before it got to transform. Probably went out of our way a little bit too much for that, but at least we got it down. And we'll just get that converted. And it's pretty much matched. Throw an Infernus at it. Should still die. Yep, there it goes. And now all we need is one skull. Never mind. We actually need more than one skull because it got attack reduced from Elamagrim. So I can't kill it that way. But I can kill it that way, though. And down it goes. Hello, Derek. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's kind of weird that, wait, what? One Mercy? I thought they fixed it so you wouldn't ever be able to set one troop as your defend. What? Interesting. What was I about to say? Yeah, it's weird that Zugoff isn't considered a daemon. It's also... Okay, I need to screenshot that. I probably should have screenshotted the previous screen. A little bit late doing it now. I wonder if they're aware of that. It shouldn't be possible anymore to set your troop, your defend team as one troop. This used to be exploited a lot in order to give people ridiculously quick wins. As you see right there, we won in like, what, 10 seconds? But yeah, they ended up fixing that, so you have to set 4 troops. You can still set 4 fire bombs or something, but yeah, that's not supposed to be possible to set only one troop like that. Alright, we'll go through Mercy down. And I guess Infernus afterwards and go from there. It's kind of weird, though, because even though you can't set your defend as one troop, or at least without glitching it, you are allowed to invade with one troop, though. So if you set your team to one troop, you can go and try killing out an entire other team with only one. Which I'm kind of glad they did leave that in, because I used to mess around with that quite a bit just to see if we could win with one troop. I haven't done that much lately, mainly because there hasn't been any like super overpowered troop that will allow me to do so. But yeah, I used to do that. We did it with Queen Mab. Actually, the most recent one I think we did it with was Queen Titania. We did it with Queen Mab, we did it with Queen Titania, we did it with Infernus. We did it with, I believe, Guard's Avatar when he first came out. We did it with Paladin at one point, which is kind of funny. We did it against an all-dragon team, so we could do 2 times skull damage to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have really been that viable to use them, obviously. Trying to think of a few other ones. I don't think we did it with Rowan. Can't recall. But anyways, yeah, we did it with quite a few different troops. Might need to go try doing that again. Unfortunately, they keep adding mythics that are so niche and not really with damage, so we don't really have any option for them. But they'll probably add one in the near future that we'd be able to do that with. Anyways, let's go get the Infernus down. Probably shouldn't have even taken that yellow the previous turn. Kind of a waste. What do we have? What do we have? Come on, all this board next to everything. And none of it works. What do I even get rid of? I guess we do it on... Let's just throw Mercy. We'll go to that. And now we throw this, and then we should be good to go. That'll do a bunch of skulls. I need him to die somehow. Too bad we can't get the burn to just trigger on it, though. Then again, he has a mean to burn, even if it could. Okay, we'll go take that skull then. I'll wipe him out, and then we Infernus, and that's pretty much match. Should bring them into about 20 HP or so. Yep, there we go. Actually, single digits, or not single digits, but the teens. And down it goes. There we go. Maybe an Elemental Giant with Hindla? Oh yeah, we already were messing with some teams earlier as far as teams for next week. The team that we're going to be using, I believe, is on our first slot right now. I should probably go save it somewhere else so I remember it in case we replace it out with something else later. But it's this team that I'm going to be using. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's the troop, the siege troop, not Gloomleaf, but whatever the siege troop is. It's a red-green troop. Dark Troll, Flame Troll, Infernus. And if you don't have Infernus, other options after you change the banner would be things like Garuda, as well as a hero weapon even, and stuff like that. You need some kind of heavy damage source there of some kind. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be what I'm going to be using for it. And then you just use the Rock Troll, Flame Troll combo and just win out that way. And then that's that. Sure, we'll go try using this on him. Actually, no. The problem is Gloomleaf is so ridiculously bad on that one. It's obviously just a placeholder for the other one. So I can't really do it much at the moment, but that is what I'm planning on doing for next week's event. Not sure if I'll be switching into a hero weapon or not, but for now I'm going to be trying to see if I can go all of next week without using hero weapon, just for fun. Because I haven't tried doing that yet on any of the invasions or raids. Be cool if we could actually get it done without using hero a single time. Alright, we'll just throw that down. Actually, one of the reasons why raids and invasions are so hero-focused in the first place is mainly because hero, for the longest of time in Gems of War, has been one of those kind of dead content troops. Even though it has about as half as many weapons as there are troops in the game, it still, for the longest of time, has been pretty dead content. But they've been trying to make it like more viable and trying to encourage people to actually use their heroes and such. Which is why it's kind of so dependent to have hero in most raid and invasion teams. Because they're trying to encourage the use of it more. Since in the past, they've done pretty bad at that. Hero classes was one of the first things that kind of tried fixing that some. But, I don't know, it still needs more overhaul for PvP. The synergies that you can get by not using hero is normally much better than what you can get with hero. And if you are using hero, it's normally something like one of the really overpowered weapons, like Mountain Crusher, for the lowest mana cost explosion in the game, or Dawnbringer as the only mythic in the game, mythic weapon in the game, and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Dragon Guard was very viable. Dragon Guard and Bard class, when both of those came out at the same time, like what, 6 months ago or whenever it was, those were the two best hero classes ever added to the game, and they were both added basically at the exact same time, like only a few days apart from each other. Oh yeah, that was on their 2-year anniversary they did that, so I think they did that in like, what, November then? So yeah, it has been like about 4 or 5 months then since then. But yeah, Dragon Guard and Bard were, at the time that they were added, or, you know, when they were added, they're the most two recent hero classes. They were the best hero classes ever added to the game. Bard, I personally don't use as much these days, but it is still really good, as far as the value that you get over it over time. But Dragon Guard I still do use on a regular basis. At this current moment, we're using Archer, though I should probably go switch that into something else. I'm not quite sure. And you know what? Maybe I'll keep it Archer. Because next week is Forest of Thorns event. And even though it doesn't seem like it sometimes, but Archer is actually considered Forest of Thorns, even though it basically never gets used with Forest of Thorns troops. But maybe next week, depending on what bonus they give, it might be viable to go bring it out, to actually go use it with its own kingdom. Especially with that new weapon that's coming. I don't even want to use that weapon for raids and invasion. I want to use it more for just PvP, just to mess around with it. Seems like it would be pretty decent with Rowan, using it with Archer class. Unfortunately, it doesn't have green in it, but still, you get the half mana start, and you still get the Archer 50% chance to kill. We don't have skull alignment, do we? So we'll just take a skull manually, and throw that down. Wait, how do we actually turn? I guess it was off of Sky. The Sky has saved us again. The almighty Sky, and all of their gems that fall perfectly. Also, we haven't found a single treasure gnome this stream. We're probably going to be completely dry until the actual gnome event. I'm not sure how much I'll be farming during the gnome event. I can guarantee it won't be as much as I did last time. I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping a... you know what? I think I will. I think starting this Friday, we will keep a little chart thingy to keep track every single gnome that we get. Kind of like what we did the first time. Except this time it will be more for fun than for an actual video. Of course, it'll still show up on stream and such, but... yeah, I think we will go do a little... we will keep track of it. I might as well. We did it last time. We might as well make a tradition to keep track of it every Treasure Gnome event. Just to see what we get from the Treasure Gnome event. Just for fun. It'll also be a good way to constantly check what the drop table is and see if they ever tweak it. By looking back at our data. It'll also be a good way to accumulate data for anyone that does try to make it like a master list of data for it eventually. Because they never tell us the drop rate of anything almost. Very, very rarely would they. But more often than not, they don't. So we have to go get our own data and figure it out that way. What the drop rates for things are. Okay, what do we even need here? I guess we throw in Furnace. Oops, come on, throw it down. Would going 4 times KrissTigger on Dragon Invasion. I did that for Guild Wars before. On Green and Blue Guild War days, before some of the more viable options came into the game that currently exist. When Guild Wars first started, I would use 4 times KrissTigger. It's pretty funny. It functions pretty good. Surprisingly well, given that it's just 4 KrissTigers. It's definitely not the best thing to be using, obviously, but it gets the job done. And yes, you could technically do that, though I think you'd eventually reach a point in towers where they would just overpower you too much. But yeah, you technically could get away with that for quite a while. It would take forever, but it would be funny. But yeah, every single time you take a purple, you gain 8 mana per turn by doing nothing, which is quite insane. What do we even need? We'll go and... Well, we have no alignment. Oh, yes, we do. Never mind. I like how every single time I say that, we have just one just blatantly being in the middle of everywhere. I think me saying that helps me find it. Because every single time I say that, it's like, oh, it's just sitting right there. Well, we'll go and get a convert first. Go grab that. Nothing to really cascade, so I guess we'll throw in Furnace. He just dies to that. Double skulls us. Do we not have alignment? This time we definitely don't. And me saying that is not going to improve it at all. Let's see, no, it's definitely not. We don't even have a single pair, surprisingly. So go move that, I guess. Diviner will have full mana next turn. Once again, no alignment. Oh, no, we have 1 skull, but that's not enough damage, unfortunately. So I guess we get rid of Brown and see if that does anything for us. And yes, it does. And that's match. Actually, we can just throw in Furnace. I don't even need to mess with all that other stuff. And down it goes. Can you suggest a good team with Queen Aurora? Gorgoltha. Well, what do you have for damage sources? Because that's the main component of the team. Because it's Gorgoltha, damage, Queen Aurora is normally what I would use. Some of my more favorite teams would be something like Gorgoltha, Infernus, Dawnbringer, with any of the 50% mana start heroes, followed by Queen Aurora, obviously. I'll go throw that down. But yeah, anything just standard like that. Gorgoltha, double damage, and Aurora works out pretty nice. Queen Aurora is really good at getting any troop that does a lot of mana generation, that needs to constantly keep doing a lot of mana generation for your team, is really good with Queen Aurora, because you can get it about 1 or 2 turns quicker due to all of her +1s on all the colors she has. So it works out quite nicely. And Gorgoltha is, even though I tend to overuse it quite a bit, just because of how viable he is particularly good with Queen Aurora, more so than quite a few other troops. Same as Ragnagord and stuff like that. You don't even need a banner Ragnagord if you have a Queen Aurora on your team, because it just automatically does it with Queen Aurora. And of course that assumes she's fully traded, obviously. You should never use Queen Aurora unless you have her fully traded. She's essentially useless without her final trait. That's where she gains about 90% of her value, is from her final trait. Okay, what do we need here? We'll go throw that down. Get a little bit of mana. What else do we have to move around? Take a little skull poke. I wonder what we'll be replacing this team with, because I've been using this for a while now as my favorite team. It's actually lasted quite a bit longer than most of the other ones. Normally something comes in that kind of replaces it out, but no, nothing really has as of recently. This has stood for quite a long time as my favorite team. I guess not as long as some other options I've done in the past, but it doesn't seem like it's getting any weaker anytime soon, unless they nerf Infernus finally, which they definitely need to do. They have to nerf him at least slightly. Even if they nerf him slightly, it's still probably going to be more of a buff than what they initially did to him. So they're only just slightly reverting back part of the buff if they nerf him. But they need to do something with him. He's just way too much damage. What do we do? Actually, a lot of things are starting to become way too much damage. The entirety of the game is starting to power creep just a little bit. Actually, quite a bit, actually. Not just a little. But, because, like, if you look at troops from, like, let's say 2 years ago, compared to troops that get released these days, they are, like, night and day how strong some of the newer troops are compared to some of the older ones. Not always. Like, for example, next week's event troop is completely useless, but still, more often than not, there are, like, some troops that just come in that are just way stronger than the normal average curve of what's currently within the game. Let's see. We'll go and throw that down. Get a nice, I think we have alignment. No. Nope, never mind. We have a few pokes here and there, but we might as well just manually take it. Oh wait, did I just take a skull on 1 HP? Which was already burned as well. What a fail if that was what I just did. I think it was. Pretty sure. Hello, Simple! Welcome, welcome, welcome. What do we need here? Well, I don't have Mercy anymore, so we'll go do down purple. Doesn't matter since we got rid of her. Go get that. Get the last of our mana, and that's match. Or almost match. And now that's match. How do we kill it? Come on, Drops. Where are you? Drops? Oh, hello, Skull. That's just sitting right there and flashing. There we go. Between Infernus and Ra, which one would you craft first? Fairish Ra for sure. It would save you a lot of time. I would probably, the order I would probably go with upgrading things is, oh, I still need to get that video out too. It's a video I've been wanting to do for ages, I keep like hinting at, but I still haven't had the time to compile everything. But as far as ordering and like those really main objectives, it would be get every single kingdom to level 3, then to level 10. Then after that, I would focus on trying to use my souls that you were just mentioning to go and, well, not you didn't mention it, but it's kind of related to Fairish Ra. But I would then go and try using my souls to get all the kingdoms to 3 stars and possibly 5 stars. I'm not quite sure how easy it is to 5 stars these days. I know it's still somewhat difficult, but it's a lot easier than what it used to be. But work towards 3 and 5 stars. But then I would be focusing all my diamonds to trying to get a Fairish Ra. Then after that, assuming I've already gotten most of my kingdoms to 3 and 5 star, I would use that Fairish Ra and farm all the way to a Dawnbringer. And then from there, I would probably go and craft all the other stuff. I wouldn't need a second Fairish Ra after that, but I would go for things like Infernus, Elamagrim, what's that other one called? World Breaker, and like all the really heavy damage sources that currently exist. But yeah, I would say Fairish Ra first. Fairish Ra, the sooner you get it, the less time you spend soul farming. And I guess in a way, if you get Infernus, that's the less time you're spending in PvP as well. So I guess you could technically see that as a gold trade-off. But when you get later into the game, assuming you've already gotten every kingdom to level 10, which at the point of you almost being able to craft a mythic, you probably are somewhat there. Probably. But if you've already pretty much gotten all the kingdoms to level 10, you don't need gold as much. Because you only need to be in a guild that's doing about, like, what, 300,000, 500,000 or so gold per week, if you can. And you can do that naturally without having an Infernus or anything. You can do that with pretty standard troops. Even if you don't have any mythics, you could still be able to do that on a regular basis for the most part. So it's a lot more important to try getting that soul gain up, because you don't need that really high gold gain for too long. You need it for about the first few months that you're playing, but after that, you need souls a lot more than you need gold, more often than not. But yeah, I would say Fairish Ra first, bottom line. Fairish Ra, let's see, if I had to say the order of Soul Forge these days, that would probably be Fairish Ra, Infernus, World Breaker, Elamagrim, and I'm not quite sure what the 5th one would be. But Fairish Ra would definitely be first, followed by Infernus at this current moment in time. What is a good Fairish Ra team you could use with 2 other troops, and the troop of the week? That would normally be, let's see, Gorgoltha, Dragon Soul, Fairish Ra, and whatever the troop is. Because you have your soul. Oh, you could also do Dark Troll depending on what color they are. Either or. It really just depends on what color the event troop is. So for example, next week's event troop is the color of, where'd it go? Green, yellow. That would actually work out quite perfectly then. So we'd go, oh, well, maybe not perfectly, but we'd go Gorgoltha. You would then go Fairish Ra. And yeah, either Dragon Soul or Dark Troll. I guess we'll go Dark Troll here. And then let's just put a placeholder of a Ranger as the other troop. And there we go. That's using it for next week's troop. And that covers every color. You got brown, green. You got red, 3. Blue and purple, 5, and this happens to be all of them, since Ranger, or whatever, the next week's event troop is green, so it'll cover that. But yeah, something along the lines of that. You can replace this with Dragon Soul as well. Whatever you do in front of it, you have to have a soul gainer. So yeah, something along the lines of this. You have your frontline tank, you have your mana generator, you have your other mana generator, plus your soul gainer that you need for Fairish Ra, and then basically you just run through one-shotting everything with Fairish Ra is the game plan with this team. Ideally, this troop would also end up using like purple if it could, though obviously next week's troop does not, but it does allow us to cover every color at least. Also, the other one destroys purple, though. So I'm not quite sure if it would be the best of ideas trying to run a Fairish Ra soul farming team with the event troop next week. Because the next week's event troop actually counters out Fairish Ra, because it removes all purple if it gets a kill. So that's kind of counterproductive. One, because Fairish Ra is probably going to be one-shotting everything. And two, even if it doesn't, this thing cleaning up the kill will remove all your purples from the board. It destroys them still, but it's still going to remove all the purples, so that's not that convenient. It would kind of get in the way and kind of counter yourself out. So I would not advise doing that next week, but most of the weeks I guess you can kind of get away with it. I'm not sure how much slower that would be compared to actually just farming them both individually, but I think it would still be more efficient just doing both individually. You can get away with using Fairish Ra in PvP, but more often than not, I don't think you're really going to be able to get away with using both Fairish Ra and the event troop. It's just going to slow down your team so much that you might as well individually farm both of those resources instead of trying to do them both simultaneously. It's why you normally see me whenever I do soul farming, whenever I do it a little bit. I'll normally be in challenges or in Explore, mainly because trying to do it in PvP while trying to get the gold, I'd be better off just using a quick PvP team for gold and a quick soul team for souls than I would be trying to use a soul team within PvP most of the time. You have almost 3,000 diamonds. Can't wait to craft a Fairish Ra. Yeah. I can't remember when the last one was. I think it's still like 3 or 4 weeks until Fairish Ra comes on rotation. So based on how many more diamonds you need, you might actually be coming around exactly when you have enough. So that would actually be quite convenient. Oops, I didn't realize we were frozen on that color. Good thing I'm not going to be dumb enough to take that blue. Let's take it. No, just kidding. It's like, we just saw we were frozen. Let's go take it again. We didn't learn our lesson from the first time. Okay, we'll go and we'll go take a yellow here. Go grab that. I'm not sure if you answered or not, but any replacement for Infernus on your Mercy Diviner team? On this one, you could put a Dawnbringer there, you could put Garuda there, you could put a Goblin Rocket there, you could put a... there's not too many other big hits that would fit color-wise. You need something that has yellow that hits big there. That or has board control, one or the other. Basically, any yellow troop that's a really heavy damage source is going to work for this slot. Yeah, I can't think of any other ones other than those few. Pretty sure there are a few. Yeah, any really heavy yellow damage is what you need there. Doesn't have to be Garuda. Just has to be heavy yellow. We're frozen on yellow. Speaking of yellow, we're not frozen on red, though, so we can just take that, throw it back into him, and down he goes. Yeah, anything yellow that hits very high would be fine. And even though Goblin Rocket doesn't hit very high, it will help you to loop, and it will help you set up skulls for the Queen Titania. I mean, not Queen Titania. Divine Isabella, I meant to say. But yeah, any of the yellow heavy damages, so that will be stuff like Artima could work. Bolt Taurus could possibly work. Oh wait, you could actually technically use because oh never mind, it's not divine. I thought it was for a second. Ideally, it would also be divine, which is quite helpful because it starts with half mana if it is. Trying to find another one. Guard's Avatar would work, plus it's divine. Garuda would work, as I mentioned. Goblin Rocket would work. Infernus obviously works. I guess technically you could use King Salinas, so I wouldn't advise it compared to some other options. Actually, at that point, you might as well just use Goblin Rocket. Penglong could work. Actually, I believe this is what I did for the budgeted version for it when I first showed Divine Isabella team. But you can just use Penglong, because you're going to get Divine enchants off of Diviner at a 1 in 3 chance. So if it enchants your entire team, that increases your damage to 8 additional damage to 27. Or at least in this case, it would be 27. But it would be 8 additional damage, anywhere from 6 to 8, due to Diviner getting enchant. So... yeah, definitely wouldn't be too bad to use Penglong if you don't have any other option. You get him for free just from completing out the Shentan Kingdom, so it's pretty easy to go get him. Takes like half an hour to an hour if you don't already have it. And that's pretty much it. I don't think there's any other higher enough damage sources. Oh, Worldbreaker, but that's a mythic. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So all those I just mentioned would work. Not as well as Infernus, but they would function. Alright, right off the bat, get that nice Mercy in there. And if anyone else has any other questions... Oh yeah, Uriali. Did I skip over Uriali? I meant to say Uriali. Yes, Uriali would also work very well on this team. Doesn't have any board control, but it does have a very heavy hit that could kill it out in like 3-4 shots, depending on what you're up against. Yeah, if anyone else still has any other questions, let me know, because I'll probably be wrapping up after this battle then. What will Ferrous Rock cost? 4,000 diamonds, 20,000 souls, and 10 celestial trait stones, if I'm not mistaken. Which I think someone else has said it in chat. Yeah, someone else has said it in chat. But yeah, it's 4,000 diamonds, 20,000 souls, and 10 celestials is how much a Ferrous Rock costs whenever he does come around. And that's how much every mythic costs, with the exception of Zugoth and Exynos, because they're special mythics that are only available in the Soul Forge. 10 Celestials? 10 Celestials isn't too bad. Celestials come into the game by quite a few means. Earlier on in the game, it can seem like you're really behind on Celestials, but once you start getting a stock of like 20 plus, you pretty much have infinite, because you can keep your stock up pretty easily once you reach that point. Yeah, it can be a little bit hard getting past that initial Celestial Trait Stone grind, but you get them literally everywhere. Every single battle in Gems of War that has a chance of dropping a Trait Stone has a chance of dropping Celestials. Certain Arcanes can actually be quite a bit harder to get than actual Celestials once you start getting later into the game, because you only get certain Arcanes at certain locations, where Celestials you get literally everywhere from everything. Okay, let's go, and what do we need down here? I guess we'll do it on red. One of the least favorable colors to actually take away, but it does work, so we'll take it. Throw that down again, move all that down, move all that. Actually, I could have recasted it. Oh well, doesn't matter. Grab that. Let's see, what else did I miss as far as questions? Not sure, I might have already answered that. Would Gorgoltha, Famine, Queen Mab, Aurora work for fully traded? Assuming they don't have immune to mana burn, yes, that would work. Assuming they don't have immune to mana burn or mana drain, though most of them have both of them simultaneously. But yeah, as long as they don't have any of those traits that have the immunity to both, we should be fine. Though do keep in mind, there are some troops that could hard counter that team very easily with their traits. But yeah, what you mentioned is fine. Let's see. The one thing you're loving about boss raids, invasions, it's focusing you to slowly level up cards, kingdoms. Yes. It is pretty nice, because particularly with raids, since it kind of encourages you to do event keys and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a really good idea to start trying to get kingdoms and stuff leveled. There isn't really too many aspects of the game that deliberately encourages you to do that, but it is a good idea to go and do that, because it'll help in the long run to try reaching 3-star and 5-star kingdoms. 3-star kingdoms give you better tributes all around, and it can start to really give you some pretty hefty tributes every hour that you happen to claim them. And 5 stars is for extra stats, and once you start getting those extra stats on everything, you can start actually getting into late game content quite a bit, like being able to perform well in guild wars and stuff like that. But yeah, that's normally one of the big kind of divides that I would consider for late game, is I would consider a count to be towards late game once you have every single kingdom at 5 stars, or pretty much every single kingdom. Either like 95% or 100% of the kingdoms at 5 stars is pretty much when late game begins. And at that point, you can do almost anything within the entire game without effort, because you'll have so much stats that you can compete in guild wars. You'll be able to do just basically all pieces of content pretty easily, with the only exception of maybe invasion and raids, mainly because those are set up very, very annoyingly, where extra stats would help, but they keep gaining so much stats that it barely even makes a difference sometimes. You're level 170 and you've only got 3 Celestials in all the time playing? Really? Ouch. But yeah, there are some things that can give it to you. Don't forget on Diamond Day too. Definitely really good value to go, if you're not going to do it on any other day other than this day, definitely make sure to go and do your dungeons and go and claim the gem bounty. It actually gives you 1 Celestial every single week. So you can be getting, well, 1 Celestial per week at minimum, even if you get absolutely none throughout the rest of the week. For only 50 gems, you get 1 Celestial, 2 gem keys, 500 souls, 400 shards, and 80 diamonds. And this is a really, really good value day to throw 50 gems down. Every other day, not as much, but on Sundays, you can always get this for 50 gems, assuming you've done all your all your 3 of your dungeons. You'd be able to get this. Wait, is all 3 or only the 1? Never mind. I think you only have to do the first one. Actually, I don't even think you need to kill all 3, just the first. But yeah, so you already get 20 gem value right there off the 2 gem keys. Then you get Celestial on top of that and 80 diamonds, and yeah, it's pretty good value. It's the only day where the offer for that's pretty much good for everyone. I personally buy it every single day just because I'm stockpiling those resources. But Sunday's the only really viable day to actually realistically throw it down. Yeah, you could be getting one Celestial every single week for forever if you have the spare 50 gems to do that. And I would highly advise doing so, because that's a really easy way to just passively gain Celestials without really needing to do much. Around 250 and doing Explore, you started racking... Yeah, once you start doing Explore a lot, you will just go get crazy amount of Celestials that you'll never be able to use. I think we're at like 400 now or something. How many are we at these days? We're at 365 Celestials. Also, we have 150 plus of every Arcane. I wish I could hand these out to people. We have like enough to give every single person here like 3 Arcanes of every single type. But yeah, we have way too many. What's our lowest Arcane these days? It was green-yellow for the longest of time, which is why you normally see me in Pan's Veil. But I've been doing it so many times now that it's actually not even our lowest anymore. Looks like our lowest is going to be green-red. Probably even more so next week, because the raid, I mean the, too many words for things. The invasion troop is going to be green-red, so I'm going to need to go trade them. And since I'm not buying big enough into the packs, I'm not going to be getting any free Arcanes. So yeah, that's going to like take away 8 of them. So yeah, we'll need to go farm green-reds then. That's Wild Plains Kingdom. Also, if you don't know where one is, you can just click on it and it brings you to it. As you can see, that's Wild Plains. So yeah, we'll need to start exploring in Wild Plains then. Wild Plains. I can't talk. But yeah, we'll need to go start farming there whenever we do our random explorers, because I need those Arcanes now. We're going to be under 150 starting next week. You couldn't beat this week's dungeons. Try using, what's it called? The Cockatrice, Cockatrice, Dragonian Monk, Miss Stalker, and one other utility troop of some kind, either for damage or for board control. Using the Dragonian Monk plus Cockatrice combo, or actually the other way around, Cockatrice plus Dragonian Monk. Even though they're both the exact same colors, it works pretty well, because you can use the Mana Drain and the Entangle off of the Cockatrice in order to this guy. He has a +1 to his yellow. He does 2 times the things that are entangled, and he ends up entangling plus Mana Draining fully any troop that he targets. And it even creates additional gems based on how much how much mana they had. So if they had, let's say, 12 mana out of 16, he would end up getting 3 additional brown gems onto the board for a total of 9, and then you could end up getting all of its mana back and some of Dragonian Monks. And as far as Dragonian Monk, it's a really good board control, as well as it barriers your entire team. Other thing you could use for that too is Dwarven Gate. I highly advise using Dragonian Monk and Dwarven Gate a lot, not both together, but like individually on some kind of team. Whenever you're doing dungeons earlier on in the game, mainly because barriers are going to be one of your most vital things that keep you alive. Even if they can one-shot each one of your troops, you could still use this and never die, because you just keep protecting against 1 instance of damage every time, and then they can never break through the barriers, and you just keep spamming it until you win. It might take forever to win, but you would indeed win. And with dungeons, you get infinite tries on them, so it doesn't really matter if how long it really takes. Well, I guess it somewhat does. Obviously, you don't want to be there for hours, but still, realistically, you'd easily be able to get it done with something like that. Might take a little while, like maybe 15 to 20 minutes per battle thingy, but you'd still be able to get them done. Let's see. But anyways, guys, wait, never mind. One other thing that was mentioned. Oh, you got your second mythic today of Yasmin's Chosen. Very nice. Yasmin's Chosen is decent, yes. Very bad against freeze, but you can use it with Web Spinner, you can use it with Forest Troll, you can use it with Green Seer. Forest Troll and Green Seer are actually going to be available next week too, as well as Yasmin in the event key drop pool, which is kind of funny that you have it now. But yeah, Green Seer or Forest Troll, if you have either of those two, works amazingly well with Yasmin. You just throw that into it and then you just spam Yasmin like crazy. It's quite a bit of fun. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. We will be covering the event pretty soon, pretty much as soon as it comes out. Probably the video will probably be out in about 8 hours from now or so, somewhere around then. But whenever I can get it out, I'll be doing that first thing tomorrow morning. And yeah, hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you all later. Don't forget, Treasure Gnome event also starts on Friday. So if you happen to have some free time this weekend, you will be able to get quite a bit more resources through that. And we're going to be streaming a bunch of that as well, just messing around, finding some gnomes, and hopefully getting lucky on vault keys. We still have gotten 0 power orbs off of vault keys, as well as only 1 unique. We only ever got that common. We're still missing 1 troop from it too. We still never got a Valraven. Hopefully it'll eventually be available in one of those color things, but we still do not have that thing. It's one of only 2 troops we have. Technically the only troop we don't have because I don't count the other one. If we go under unowned, we're currently only missing 2 troops in the entire game. Valraven, which is found only in Volts, unless it randomly comes up in the Soulforge. And Zugoff, which 0 people in the entire game own, so it doesn't really matter if we own that or not. But yeah, I do need to go get a Valraven, because that's the one realistic troop that we could earn that I still don't have. And the only easy way to do that if it doesn't come up through the Soulforge is to, well, the Vault event. And there's another one coming this Friday, so I guess we'll be attempting it. Anyways, guys, have a good night, everyone. I'll see you all later. Goodbye. Also, hello, Marcelo, if I didn't already say hi. Sorry about that. And I will see you all later. Goodbye, everyone.